G'day guys, we're out camping again. This time we're at Ben Bullen Camping, which is a place called Tyrone, just outside of Arachula. It's about an hour and a half from Brisbane, or about 15 minutes from Arachula. Now there's about 6 kilometres of dirt road you've got to travel to, which is actually pretty easy going. Definitely get 2-wheel drive vehicles down and caravans. Now the actual camp itself, Ben Bullen, sits on about 160 acres of pristine farmland, right on the scenic rim, right underneath Cunningham's Gap. They have a number of campsites here, which we're going to show you around a bit later. But the actual campsite that we're actually on is right on the creek, and it's absolutely beautiful. There is some cows and stuff that come through the campsite as well. Anyway, let's take you in and show you a bit more. Alright, so this is one of the first campsites you actually get to when you get inside the gate at Ben Bullen. It's nice and flat and grassy, suitable for large caravans, 2-wheel drive vehicles, all that sort of thing. It's got a nice big fire pit here, nice big log that you can sit on, and it has this beautiful creek that sort of runs in the background here. Absolutely amazing.
So this is our campsite. This is still situated at the front of the property, and as you come through the gate, you just got to cross that first little creek and chuck a left, and you'll see an enormous big wide open space. It'd be absolutely amazing for a huge group of campers, and it's great for solar. So where we're camping, we've decided to pull up right beside the Clayton Gully Creek, and the boys are having an absolute ball down there. It's not very deep, but they're having a great time jumping around and splashing in the puddles, and Peanut has had a great time running around as well. So right next to where we're camping is a wild Australian bush lemon tree, and the farmer has given us permission to take a few. We might take some home and see what we can make with them. But the skin's really bumpy, but they're very aromatic, so I can't wait to see what they taste like. Okay, so we are at Kingfisher campsite, which is at the back of the property. There are 2 creeks on the property. The one at the front where we're camping is called Clayton Gully Creek, and the one behind me here is Gap Creek. It's a beautiful running creek, and as you can see, we've got a massive amount of space. It is 4-wheel drive accessible only. If you're going to come out to this site, you're probably going to need a small camper trailer, swag, or a tent. And it's a pretty shady spot, so it'd be perfect in summer, but not great for generating solar. So this is Gap Creek that I was talking about a bit earlier, and as you can hear, it's such a beautiful, serene sound. The creek is running, it's crystal clear, and I can only imagine on a hot summer's day how good this would be for a dip.
Alright, so this campsite here is called Cascades. It's right at the back of the property. Now you are going to need a 4-wheel drive to definitely get here. Now there's a couple of little creek crossings you do need to get through, but they're nothing too deep. The actual site is actually quite large, nice and open, so there's a little bit more solar than the Kingfisher one. And just over here, we're going to tell you why it's called Cascades, because there's a beautiful little waterfall. Alright, so it doesn't need any introduction to why this is called Cascades. You've got the waterfalls that are right behind me, and it flows into this nice little plunge pool here, where you could sit here on a nice hot summer's day with a couple of beers. Unfortunately, we're not going to be doing that today because it's middle of winter here in Queensland and it's a little bit chilly.
So we were just taking a bit of a walk along the creek, and we've come across this ginormous plant just growing out of the rock face over there. Comment below if you know what it is. I think it might be some kind of yucca or agave.
So check this out. This is called the Lookout and it overlooks the Main Range National Park. Unfortunately, you can't camp up here, but it can be booked for events and functions. It has the most amazing outlook out of any venue we've ever seen. Lachlan was even lucky enough to have a ride on their horse, which he was pretty happy about.
So a few times we've been camping, we've noticed that there's been a couple of people that we've seen having issues starting their campfire. Now I just thought it'd be a good idea to give a couple of people a few tips that are new to the camping game on how to get a campfire started. First thing is, make sure you start off small. You've got to have some small sticks and leaves and all that sort of thing, and then you build the fire as it gets bigger and bigger. So what I've done here is I've got a bunch of sticks here. I've crushed them sort of up. Doesn't need to be any form of art, but there is a little bit of science into it, and just pile them all up. What I've also done is these things here. These are just cotton balls. We made these ourselves, and they're actually smushed with Vaseline, and they create the perfect fire starter. The best thing is that they're really cheap to make. So like you can build like a whole bundle of them for about $5. So really good tip, and they burn for a long time. Next thing is grab yourself one of these butane torches. Best thing since sliced bread. Easy to get fires going, especially if you've got a little bit of stuff that's a bit wet. So basically what we'll do, I've got 3 of them sort of spread around. I'll get the torch started, and basically once these start to light, you can start to see these already fired up already. They light up really quickly and they burn for quite a while. So once this fire is underway, you can start to see it start to go. Then we start adding some larger sticks to it. So we just keep adding some sticks to it as it sort of gets along. And then once the actual fire starts to take hold, then we can then start getting into our thicker stuff and then start building the fire. All right, so once the fire starts to get going like it is now, don't add too much to it, small bits at a time. We don't want to overcrowd the fire with sticks. You'll smother it out, and you've got to get that air into it. Air is the key to getting a good fire going, and also dry timber. So we can start to see, I just like to build like a bit of a pyramid type of thing, to slowly start adding a few sticks. And what this will do is it'll allow those air gaps in between to get in, and then start creating some nice sort of coals down the bottom. Shortly, once that starts to fire up a little bit more and we start to get a bit more heat in the bottom of it, I'll start to add some larger sticks to it, and then that way we can build the perfect campfire. All right, so now the fire's now starting to get really developed now. We can start adding some more sticks. Again, not too big, otherwise we'll smother it. We'll just start to lay these on, just in a bit of a sort of a pyramid sort of fashion. And then that way, that can start to burn down. We'll probably add a couple more and build that right up. This one?
Okay, so we've just come back to the caravan and I've finished boiling the kettle. I've washed the lemon. We're going to try out this bush lemon. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut some slices and we're going to squeeze the juice into the cups, and then we're going to leave the whole piece of lemon in there because there's quite a lot of flavour in the skin of these lemons. And I might add some sugar for the boys because they might not like the tartness of it, but they're pretty excited to taste it, and we'll let you know what it tastes like.
Oh. Yeah. It's pretty good.
What's it taste like?
Tastes like mostly lemon, but very hot.
Yeah? Is it nice? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I gotta give it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5, and you'd have it again then?
Maybe.
Maybe.
So the phone reception here is pretty limited. There are a couple of spots up the hill where you do get 1 or 2 bars of 4G for voice and text. Unfortunately, no data. If you want data, you're going to have to go into Arachula. TV reception here is non-existent, especially where we are. We're down here in a little bit of a hole here. We tried to watch the footy last night, tried to get the antenna pointing in every direction, but we were totally unsuccessful.
All right, so you can bring your dog here. The farm is dog friendly, but obviously pick up after your dog. Make sure they're restrained and don't upset the cattle and everything that live here.
Yep.
Also, you can get firewood from Luke. He will drive down his truck, drop it off. It's $20. And also, just to let you know, you do need to be fully self-contained, as there are no amenities on site, no toilets, no showers. So you need to take your rubbish with you, and you need to be able to do all that sort of stuff on your own in your own setup.
Absolutely. Now that brings us to the price. So we paid for 2 nights here. It was $128. So that's what, $64 a night for 2 adults, 2 children, and a pet. I think it's getting up there a little bit in sort of price, considering that you sort of just camped in sort of someone's paddock.
Yeah.
However, he does run this as a bit of a business and is a really nice guy.
It is beautiful.
And it is a really lovely spot. Like it's that scenic rim looking over the hill up there and looking over to Cunningham's Gap. So earlier in the day we met up with Luke and joined him up at the top. And Lachlan got to have a ride on a horse up there on the top.
He did.
And right up the top of the hill, they have this setup up there where you can have weddings. They've got like a bit of a platform with a bit of an arch.
Amazing
And it's just
view.
like this
And the big
backdrop.
barn.
Oh yeah, and they've got this massive big barn where they've got toilets and sort of, you know, a bar and all that sort of thing. So we'll leave a link in the description below where you can sort of get in contact with these guys, because they do run the occasional wedding. They don't run them all the time, but they do open it up for it.
This would be an amazing spot if you're thinking about having a large gathering, because there is plenty of space.
Absolutely, especially where we are. We're down here at that second sort of campsite on the way in, and it's massive. Like there's a good, well, we're actually only campers here this weekend.
Yeah, the whole weekend.
Which is fantastic. But even still to the next campsite, it's probably a good 400 metres away. So if you like your sort of space, this is definitely something you need to put on your list. Anyway, that brings us to our campfire review. In front of the campfire again. Starting to become a habit, isn't it?
It is.
In front of the campfire.
And we have
So I'm going to go first. I'm going to give this, I'm going to knock it back 1 star. I'm going to give it 4 campfires,
Yeah.
only because of the price. I just think $62 a night from
64.
$64 a night from what we've previously paid, where we've had, you know, animal interactions and all that sort of thing for similar sort of money. I'll just take it back down to that 4 campfires.
I reckon I'm going to go the same, and probably for the same reasons. It would actually be interesting to come back and see what our experience would be if it was just you and I and the swags down at the Cascades campsite.
Oh, that would be absolutely
in
amazing.
summer.
Yep.
I was really keen to get in that water, but it was just too icy cold. I
Yep.
reckon that would be amazing.
Yeah, I reckon if you were just tenning or swagging it, getting down to the actual Cascades camp spot would be an absolute treat.
Or even the Kingfisher one.
Even the kingfisher, and we actually even seen a little kingfisher, didn't we?
We'll throw the footage in.
Yeah, where there was a kingfisher just sitting on the
fence.
fence. Anyway, Lachlan, what are you going to give it out of 5 campfires?
I gotta give it over 50.
50?
Oh, well, that's a bit. What about you, Ollie?
How many campfires? 10?
5 or 10?
5 and 10.
5 and 10. Okay, well there you go.
15.
Anyway, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means a lot to us. Allows us to bring you more content like this. Until the next time, get out there, get camping, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye!